There's three reasons why it's harder to train a Great Pyrenees. Hi, I'm Rich with Off Grid Dogs, Training and Behavior, and I'm crazy about you because you love your dog. So they make t-shirts, really cute t-shirts about Great Pyrenees because they're so hard to train. I don't know if you can see the jokes here on the t-shirt, but it's a thing. They have the reputation of the hardest to train dogs. And famous trainer recently on YouTube named Larry Crone said that he was no longer going to accept Great Pyrenees, not because he couldn't train them, but because he couldn't get the same kind of results that he gets with other breeds. So he just didn't want to deal with them anymore. But there's three reasons why that's true. I saw recently on a dog training podcast, somebody mentioned that he had heard that they were stubborn. Well, they might act stubborn, but if you say that they're stubborn, they're being stubborn, you're being incorrect. You're missing the point. What they're being is they're just being true to their nature. They were bred to do a certain job, which was to guard a flock of sheep on their own, with no human telling them what to do, making all of their own decisions. And they've been bred to do that for thousands of years, so their genetics are unbelievably strong. And when you try to train the Great Pyrenees, you're going against its genetics. That's not what they're meant to do. They already know what to do. And they have a very strong DNA telling them to do it. So you're just sort of going against nature. You're trying to combat what they were meant for. They're not being stubborn, but they were bred to be very independent thinkers because they had to be. Because the shepherd wanted to go home and go to sleep at night and leave his family fortune, which was the flock of sheep, alone with the dog and trust the dog to know what to do and to make the right decisions. So you get a dog like that, you don't have a Labrador Retriever, you don't have a German Shepherd. So it's very just ignorant to think that I'm just going to treat them the same way and train them the same way. Well, good luck with that. So it's not that they can't be trained, but if you really get to know them and what they are and appreciate what they are, by the way, it's my favorite breed, and I have one right now. But they're completely different than other dogs. I had labs my whole life. And basically, they're just fantastic, but in a different way. So they're very intelligent. They know what you want. They're cooperative if you know how to live with a dog correctly and provide leadership. And you better be a strong leader. Do not get one of these as a pet. Okay, they don't make good pets. Unless you're a dog expert and really want to go to all the extra mile to provide, what the dog needs. I do not recommend them at all. They're the most abandoned dog in America percentage-wise by breed. There's not as many of them, so that the shelters aren't full of them like they are with pit bulls. But that's just numbers. But percentage-wise, they get abandoned more than any other breed because they're so difficult for the average dog owner. Should not get one. They think, oh, it's a sweet, fluffy white dog, and they are, but they're a lot more than that. So that's number one. Is when you're trying to train a Great Pyrenees, you're going against Mother Nature. And if you know anything about Mother Nature, you don't beat her. Okay, you're not going to win. So what you have to do if you actually want to live with a Great Pyrenees, because mine is a pet. I'm not taking my own advice. I got one, but I knew what I was getting into. So, but I know how to mitigate that situation so that I have a fulfilled, content dog that's calm, confident, easy to live with, and has zero behavior problems. But it's a lot of work, and it's knowing how to work with nature instead of against nature, and learn how to cooperate with the dog more than trying to just train the dog. But and training a dog is the least important thing anyway, regardless of the breed. The important thing is knowing how to live with a dog. Two different things completely. And then, so that's number one, is they're the hardest to train because they weren't meant to be trained. They were meant to be left alone and just let them do their thing because they know what to do. Number two is, and this is sort of a joke between peer people because only Great Pyrenees people will really get this, but you have to be extremely patient when you're training a Great Pyrenees or attempting to, because they do everything in their own time. We call it Great Pyrenees time or peer time. It's not like other dogs. So for example, if you give a dog, a regular dog, a command and he knows the command, then you pretty much expect the dog to do it instantly. You don't get that with a Great Pyrenees, because if you give a Great Pyrenees a command, he's going to do what a Great Pyrenees does, which is he's going to think about it, because he already knew what he wanted to do. He doesn't want to take commands. He wants to do what he knows is right. So it's more like a suggestion, and he'll think about it, and he'll get back to you if he decides that it's a good idea. So you have to be very patient, because they will obey commands if they respect you, but they'll do it a little more slowly than your typical breed. And a lot of people don't have, the patience. And a good example is when I'm out, I take my Great Pyrenees out in public every day. We go out to a restaurant and have breakfast or lunch at one of the local patios every day. And when we're getting back in the car, I don't give him the command to get into the car, because first of all, I don't need to. He's smart. He knows we're getting in the car. He'll get in the car without me telling him to. But I know also from experience that if I told him to get into the car, he would actually stop getting in the car to think about whether he wanted to follow my command or not. So it's actually quicker just to leave him alone and let him get into the car on his own, because he knows what to do. So Great Pyrenees time is the second reason why they're difficult for most people to train, is they don't have the patience. The third reason they're very difficult for people to train and to have a pet especially is, like all giant breeds, they take much longer to mature. So do not get one unless you want a 100-pound plus puppy for 3 years, because they don't mature in a year or a year and a half like an average sized dog or a big dog. They're a giant breed, and they will take 2.5 years to 3 years minimum to mature, both mentally and physically. So you're looking at least 2.5 years of different stages. You think you've got everything under control, and all of a sudden the dog loses his mind because he's hitting a fear period or a teenage period or hormones or something's going on. So you have to go through this for twice as long as for, say a German Shepherd or a Labrador Retriever. So again, it takes a lot of patience, because it's going to take you a good 2.5 to 3 years to create that awesome dog. So especially if you're thinking about a pet, you might want to think twice. And then after 3 years, you finally have this fantastic dog that, you don't have to worry about. And guess what? They don't live very long. So now, he's got maybe 4 or 5 years of prime, and then he's already an old dog, because giant breeds don't live that long. So these are things to think about, but they're amazing animals, but just don't get one as a pet.